Namaste, beloved magicals. I am Kash, Indigo Ray, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you my IM video for the ABCs of Witchcraft. So in my practice, IM represents magic or manifestation, which are part and parcel of the same thing. In my practice, I see magic or manifestation as the outcome of magical intent fused with focused will. So when you know what you want, when you know what is meant for your life, and you set your will in a particular direction, you invoke all of the correspondences that we've learned throughout time, aid in certain magical practices, aid in healing, aid in prosperity, aid in memory or thought or whatever it is that you are invoking or asking from the universe for. When you marry that with really pure, powerful intention, the fusion of those in my practice is how I see manifestation. So whatever comes of my magical intent, whatever comes of a spell, and really when you break down the word spell, all it is a prayer said through rhyme or not with some kind of cadence which states your desire either in your spoken language or another language. But we are not begging the universe for something. We are speaking what we already know is ours by divine right. By divine birthright, I should say. So when I approach magic, when I call you all magicals, including myself, what I'm saying there is that I'm affirming that we, by our very natures, are an expression of the magical universe. We may not be able to understand all of the workings of our body. We can talk about the electric force of the heart, the magnetic force of the spirit. We can talk about these processes of the mind and body from a scientific place, but we don't really understand what fuses them all together. Magic. We don't know why they produce certain results. We don't know why our hearts stop at a certain point in time. We can say what this disease is or what that happening was, but there is an intelligence behind this universe that we have to cooperate with and operate within. And if we do those things, we can produce certain results that we want to see in our lives. We are given human bodies, in my perception, we are given human bodies to experience the world, to experience love. Through us, the originator of this universe is learning who it is as this being, as that element, as this element, as that rock, as this akasha, right? So it has no desire to deny us the things that we need. So whenever I go to spell work, whenever I go to magic, my whole approach is whatever manifests is what is meant for me. If I ask for something in particular and I get something else, that caveat at the end of the spell that says this or something better now manifests for me means that I'm willing to accept that with my limited capacity, this is what I think I need. I might ask the universe for $2,000 to pay my rent, but what I'm given is $1,800. Now I might wonder, well, how come I got less? Who knows? Maybe my landlord calls and says, hey, I'm so sorry you're still waiting for the dishwasher. I'm gonna knock off $200 from your rent. And then that extra, that extra 200 might show up in some other way. Some kind of, I worked more hours that week or whatever it is. That $200 may still show up in a way that I'm able to use it for other needs. My rent's paid and now my mind can relax, right? So manifestation is when you have set your eyes on a certain goal, but you also recognize that the universe knows a little bit better than you do, maybe what you need, or a way in which you can have what you need, and also maybe get a little something extra. I've experienced this a couple times. A bunch of times, but a few times I'm going to talk about. I was new at a job, and I was like sitting around thinking, I was temping, okay? I was temping at this job, and I was thinking like, I really want to stop at the store and get mixed nuts to have as snacks. I want to keep
hot. Jasper, that's hot, baby. Hot.
I was thinking that I wanted to get mixed nuts to keep at my desk to have as a snack, right? I thought it a couple of times, but I didn't actually go to the store to do the shopping. I even told my husband, babe, I need to go to the store and pick up some things for meals. If you go before I do, will you get some mixed nuts? Let me tell you something. That job that I was temping at decided to hire me on permanently, and when I got to work that Monday, there was a gift basket on my desk. Can you imagine what was in the gift basket? Several selections of mixed nuts. There were chocolate almonds, yogurt almonds, colorful, I don't even know what candy covered almonds, roasted almonds. It was like the universe said, here, you didn't say what kind of nuts, so here's a whole lot of types of nuts. That sounds like such a silly thing to see as manifestation, but it is. And when you notice the universe is showing up in certain ways for you, it keeps showing up. Every time you notice that, say, oh, look at how magical that was. I totally manifested a bunch of mixed nuts to keep at my desk, and I didn't pay for it. That's wonderful. I was so grateful for that. So, I could go on and on with a couple of other examples, but I think you get what I'm talking about. So, I like to use the 7 Hermetic Principles as something that grounds my magical practice, something that grounds my belief around, in witchy circles we say magic. In the New Age, they say manifestation. It's the same thing, how things come into being, right? So if you haven't heard of the 7 Hermetic Principles, which if you're on this channel, you probably have, they are the 7 laws that govern this universe. And they were written, in a year that I can't even produce in my mind right now, by Hermès Trismegistus. That's what the Greeks called him. Hermès Trismegistus, which means the thrice great. The Egyptians, or the Kemetans, call Hermès Trismegistus. He originated, his lore originated in ancient Kemet, and they named him Thoth and elevated him to the role of God as a messenger from the gods. The Greeks got a hold of this and called him Hermès Trismegistus. It's the same dude. All respect, Thoth. So he shares these 7 Hermetic Principles. I'm going to read them from my iPad so that I don't miss one and tell you the wrong thing. but these are great to use to ground in your magical practice to help focus your intention and get your will in alignment. Once you understand the way this universe works and the rules that you have to follow in order to have the manifestations that you want, you get on the right vibration to produce the thing that you desire. So the first principle is the principle of mentalism. All is mind. The universe is mental. The overarching idea of this is that the universe came into being out of the mind of God or the originator or source or whatever, however you want to call that. The all as it is put, and therefore are all subject to the laws of created things. This mental universe, for the sake of experiment, could be explained as an infinite intelligence, an intelligent field, and even the nature of consciousness itself. Thought dances with thought. So everything that we see is a production of the one great originator's thought process. Okay. The things that you think about are the things that you experience. The things that you focus on are what you will see. So some of us are having a really great experience in the world right now, and some of us are having a terrible experience. It is connected to the vibration that you are on right now. So there are timelines happening at the same time, right? So if I'm connected to negative things happening around me, that's the vibration I'm on. That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I notice. There are some people who are sailing through life right now. They're on a vibration of everything is lovely. And so they're going to notice the lovely things. Not to say that they don't see that bad things are happening to other people, but they are not affected in a deep way by these things. They can have sympathy, but they're not affected by it. Okay, the second principle is correspondence. That's where we get as above, so below. As below, so above. As within, so without. As without, so within. Simply put, what you hold true on earth, God holds true in heaven. So whatever I set up for myself as my belief system, that is what is going to actualize in my life. So if I'm a person who's superstitious and I think that setting my purse on the floor means that all the money's going to run out, I'm going to keep having problems with money because I keep putting my purse on the floor. So your unconscious processes, your subconscious thoughts about things, whatever you hold true up here is exactly what's going to happen right here. You're going to feel it. This principle embodies the truth that there is always a correspondence between the laws and the phenomena of various planes that manifest as being and life. Grasping this principle is what allows one to deduce the hidden solutions to problems by looking at what exists as a layer above and below. So we also talk about what's happening in the greater cosmos, what's happening in the celestial bodies. So we look at astrology to see how the planets move and how that affects certain things in our charts, and we work along with that, which is use the correspondences of the days of the week, of the moon phases, of the times of the day with the sun phasing, in order to make sure that what we're doing aligns with what's happening in the greater cosmos around us. Sacred geometry, symbolism, when you put symbols on things. Okay, the dollar bill, that American dollar bill, honey, with all of those symbols, that stuff means something, and we are all under its spell. Okay. Number 3 is the principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. So everything that you see that looks like it's sitting still, like even this glass, this ice looks like it's solid, but that's only because the particles are so slowed down that it looks like it's solid. If we were to speed them up, they would be swimming around just like the liquid. This is iced tea. And by the way, just so if anyone wants to know, I'll put the link to this, but I got this from a medium corporation. But it's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. This principle embodies the truth that nothing rests, everything is in motion, and everything vibrates. It explains that matter, energy, and even spirit are simply varying rates of vibration. So that's what we mean when we in the New Age say you want to get on a higher vibration. You want to be connected to the vibration that's positive, that's love, that's light, that's really good feeling energy. Those good emotions, joy, happiness, love, romance, those really good feelings and experiences help tie you to a certain vibration that produces more of that in your life. You're telling the universe what you want to experience based on the vibration that you align with, your dominant thought and activity. Oh, I said this totally backwards, sorry. At the highest rates of vibration, the rate and intensity are so rapid it appears to be motionless. So the ice is moving so fast that it's motionless. Like a spinning wheel appearing stable. At the lowest levels of vibration, objects move so slowly they appear to be totally at rest. Between these two exist infinite manifestations, all occurring at varying octaves of vibration, each with their own phenomena. So when you know that nothing is at rest, that everything is moving at different levels, different speeds of vibration, you can get on the speed that's producing what you want to experience. You elevate your vibration so that you can draw into your life what you want to feel. That also means when you look out at the world around you, things appear to be stagnant. They're not. The sun has set and it seems to be gone. It's not. Just like you can do a spell and go, where's the manifestation of this thing? It's on its way to you. That's why we always say, don't miss your manifestation by talking about it as if it hasn't happened yet, because it didn't happen as quickly as you wanted it to happen, because it corresponds to your own vibration, your rate of belief, your rate of will. That's why we raise energy before we do spells, in order to make sure that our will and our intention are both at the highest level possible before we release that cone of power, send our energy out to come back to us, hopefully not void. Okay, number 4 is the principle of polarity. And yes, I'm speeding through these because they actually are quite lengthy and there's a lot of information here, but I want you to go in search of this information and actually metabolize it for yourself. I'm just kind of giving you an overarching idea around how the 7 Hermetic principles rule this universe. The principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. So polarity. In order for us to experience good, we have to have some level of experience with bad. We have to understand what we believe that the opposite is so that we can recognize the good that's showing up in our life. There is, all things have to correspond. There is cold, there is hot. There's love, there is hate. This principle is important to Hermeticists because it suggests we can change the polarity of a degree of emotion by recognizing it is the same and choosing the degree which best suits our needs. So, love and fear. Contrary, I don't believe that hate is the opposite of love. I believe that fear is. So, you are either able to be in a state of love or in a state of fear. They act completely opposite. When you are in a state of love, you are giving, you are generous, you are kind, you are bringing things closer to you. When you are in a state of fear, you are pushing things further away from you. You're trying to separate and distance yourself from whatever else it is. Even if that's a romantic relationship, if it's a familial relationship, if it's a child, whatever it is. So when you recognize that fear is just love in a state of imbalance, you can reconcile that and get all your horses going in the same direction. Get that chariot going in the same direction so you can achieve what you want. And this isn't all about doing stuff. Let me make that clear. This is also about just moving through the day-to-day life with the correct perception of how this universe functions. It's not chaos. It's not random. Fate is not everything that we experience is already been predetermined. We are on a certain path based on who we've come into this world as. That's as far as fate goes. Then you make decisions that create the path that you either continue to move on or switch and go a different way. There may be some basic things that you determined and when you were setting up this life for yourself that you have to experience. They're going to show up wherever you go. If you're tied to a certain soul group, you're going to meet that person or those people, or you're going to raise that child. It's going to happen. It just may happen in a different order. Okay, so the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. And I love this picture. I can get it to focus. I love that picture. So rhythm. We are not always on the receiving end of the tide. Sometimes we are in the ebb. It's the meaning of the Wheel of Fortune tarot card. We're not always going to be on the top, but we're also not always going to be on the bottom. Fate is a wheel, like we just talked about. Like you're going to move in and out of certain experiences, certain realities, but you're never going to be in the same position all of the time. Nobody's always downtrodden. It may seem like it, but that might go back to that principle of mentalism, right? They've already kind of set themselves in a certain mindset that keeps them tied to that vibration. But rhythm, there's the pendulum swinging constantly in our lives. Things are going exactly the way we want them to. Uh-oh, something has changed and we want it to stay the same. When you don't grasp at it staying on this like upswing, you also don't have to freak out when it's maybe on the downswing. You just know it's got to go back the other way as well. And you try to not be too attached to either one. That's how the Buddhists live. Okay, we're on number 6, the principle of cause and effect. I think we all know this one. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. So everything that we do has an effect in our life here, and it also has a resounding effect in our karmic life elsewhere in the astral. So when we come back, that's what they talk about, that, oh, I set all this stuff up for myself. I had all of these experiences, and now karma is showing up in these particular ways in my life, right? That's because cause and effect, right? Anything that you do, there is a ripple effect, whether you feel it now or you feel it later. So when somebody does something, sketchy to you, you don't have to go all hexy on them. They're gonna get that back. They just are. It's one of the laws of the universe. It happens. We may not always know how they paid for that, but they will. Like all this crazy stuff that this American president is doing. I don't need to participate in cursing him. He's gonna get it back anyway. And the way the universe is gonna send it back to him, I don't even want to be involved in that. I'm gonna let that happen on its own. And I'm gonna pray for everybody under his power. Okay. The principle of gender. Oh wait, I want to read something. So around that law, I know that if I want to be a better writer, I clearly need to write each day and read more often, as opposed to not, and resigning myself to merely reacting to the consequences of not having done the work and experiencing the problems that inevitably arise when you are not pursuing your highest calling. So he's specifically talking about how if I want to experience something in my life, or maybe I've done some sort of spell, I don't now just sit back and wait for that thing to show up. I have to do the things that keep me on the vibration of having that return to me in the way that I want to experience it. I want to get the positive effects of what I've caused to be in motion, right? So I'm gonna do the things that keep me on the course. Now, let's say I had asked for the nuts and then I just shirked it off. It may or may not come back to me, right? But the fact that I talked about it a couple of times, I actually made plans to go to the store. I was kind of putting myself in the flow, in the movement of it, and it showed up on its own. Now, maybe that desire had such a short way to go to manifest to me anyway. It wasn't like I need a car. I asked for nuts, you know what I mean? But it still happened. You can experiment with lots of different things. Okay, the last one is the principle of gender, and this is the one I think that we all really, really get. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. So this is where in Wicca, they work with the god and the goddess. Everything in this universe is seen as having masculine energy and feminine energy. The lady, the lord, they rule or are aspected in different parts of our natural world. So the lady is the flowering, fruiting things. Well, some consider the lord to be the vegetation, but let's say the lady is the tree and the lord is the leaves or the grapes or what have you. And then the lord goes into the wild things and the animals, and the lady manifests in the birthing things, how this earth continues to go through cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. There is gender in our humanity, obviously, right? There's gender in the cosmos, the way the planets are named, the energies that they resonate with, the places that they rule in our lives. So that's where in witchcraft we get divine feminine and divine masculine, that two sides of the same energy that have to be brought together in balance. So if you look at a lot of witches' altars, we have candles that connect to the divine feminine and candles that connect to the divine masculine. We have items that are connected to femininity, such as the cauldron, the chalice, the bell, and then we have the masculine items, the ritual sword or the atame or the wand. And you can get as deep into this stuff as you want or not. But I do find that when you balance those energies internally, which is what we're all seeking to do, right? So I need to balance the divine masculine. Mr. Bugs! Sorry. I need to balance the divine masculine within myself so that everything that I'm doing and expressing in this life is not in the polarity of all feminine, right? We all have both, but bringing them in harmony, bringing them into union with each other is what allows me to be in balance as a human being and experiencing them. You know, whatever it is that I'm calling into my life, it makes your magic stronger. So that is me really skirting the 7 Hermetic Principles, because otherwise this would be a really long video. It's already 28 minutes, but you can go as deep into Hermeticism. It's a Gnostic practice. It's a path that allows you to really connect with the shape and the texture of this universe, so that once we stop looking at everything around us as some sort of chaotic, fated nonsense that we have no idea how it's happening, once we can start to take responsibility for understanding how it happens, then we can get involved in crafting it so that our magic actually produces what we want to experience, so that we see the manifestation of the intentions that we are setting in the world. I hope you are having a beautiful, brilliant Sunday, and I am gonna go eat some delicious Mexican food in my kitchen. Blessed be, have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and happy almost moon day. Namaste. Blessed be.